Everyone, welcome back to this for Friday. Someone say yes.
Yes! Yes!
Brian is on a high-tech gaming laptop today, not sponsored. Needs more RAM. Anyway, the Nintendo Switch Lite, the smaller portable-only Switch, is finally here.
And reviews so far are really positive for the Switch Lite. It seems like everyone likes the streamlined $200 version of the console.
It also means that this is the end of the line for the 3DS, despite what Nintendo has been saying.
Yeah, they've said again and again that they'll still support the 3DS, but if you look at the reality on the ground, that's pretty much dead.
Yeah, in Nintendo's latest financial report, they said that the 3DS sold a paltry 200,000 units, between April and June, compared to the more than 2.1 million Switches that are all in the households across America, Europe, maybe even Antarctica.
As for games, let's go over to Metacritic and search coming soon for the 3DS, and no results found.
Yeah, one of the last big games for the 3DS was Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, and that was in March. No offense to Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn, but if that's what you consider a big release, you're probably in trouble.
Yeah, there was also Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story, plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey, not released in January.
Anyone who played these ones? Brian, did you play with your children?
Even my kids wouldn't be into that.
Tell us more about the state of decay for the 3DS, Brian.
Yeah, one of the most recent games I could find was Persona Q2 New Cinema Labyrinth, which that's a crossover Persona exclusive for the 3DS. That was in June, but past that, there's just not much. Nintendo, though, was still paying lip service to the 3DS. As recently as a few months ago, in July, Nintendo of America President Doug Bowser told The Verge that they'll continue to support the 3DS family as long as there is demand.
Like, basically, as long as you believe in it, it will be there. What happens when we collectively stop believing in things? They go away. Bowser was also recently quoted as saying that, quote, "Our 3DS business continues to do quite well." He emphasized that you can get a 2DS with a game included for $80, which he called a great value proposition for a young gamer coming into the Nintendo ecosystem. What a fun way to, it's like adulthood and then the Nintendo ecosystem.
I like picturing like a small kid saving up his allowance for a 2DS, and it's just like, no, Johnny,
Man.
wrong move.
When I was your age, I was buying soaps.
Also, at this point, if your parents get you a 2DS instead of a Switch, they don't love you.
Wait, what did you get your kids, Brian?
A 2DS.
Ooh.
And well, at this point, it's the existing 3DS library that they're trying to sell, not really any new games.
Yeah, there wasn't a single 3DS on display at E3, and even Pokemon games have moved over to the Switch with the upcoming release of Sword and Shield later this year. That is not a good sign when Pokemon has left your system.
Here's the real death blow. A Nintendo spokesperson told Kotaku that they have no new first-party software in the works for the 3DS, and that was in April.
So from here on out, it's pretty much just third-party games, also known as shovelware. Or, I don't know, movie tie-ins maybe? I don't know, there might be a Battle Angel Alita game coming to the 2DS soon.
Dude, that movie rocks. Oh, God, I love that movie.
But hey, it's been a good run for the 3DS, right guys?
It had a good run. It released in 2011. It would go on to sell more than 75 million units. Now, that's less than half of what the DS sold, but that's still really respectable, especially considering that the 3DS had to compete with mobile gaming on smartphones. Lots of people thought it would be dead on arrival, so 75 million, that's very respectable.
As for the Switch Lite, which is the 3DS's successor, even though Nintendo will not admit it, people just love it.
Wall Street Journal, of all places, called it the most comfortable handheld gaming device ever created, and Nintendo's second consecutive hardware home run.
Okay, I mean, it's more of the same of the last thing, but sure. She's got a new hat, right? Malibu Stacy, anybody? I'm too old. So the Switch Lite is smaller and lighter than the OG Switch, which while you can't dock it or detach the Joy-Cons, you do get better battery life, so that's fantastic. Nintendo has said it has 3 to 7 hours of battery life, which would be an improvement over the old Switch, as most of us know, I think, when you're playing Breath of the Wild in the toilet and you go, no, don't die.
Or the airplane, when I have 3 hours left to go.
Or both.
The airplane toilet.
If you spend 3 hours on an airplane toilet, you're gonna get the door knocked on. The marshals are gonna want to talk to you.
Fun fact about airplane bathrooms, not that I want to make this the RT podcast, but you can just open the door from the outside. It's easy, there's a little latch. If a junkie locks himself inside of an airport or airplane bathroom, you gotta open it up somehow without busting it in and him scratching himself with a needle. Anyway, with all that said, the new Switch has a proper D-pad if you want to play any NES games.
Yeah, the journal called it pound for pound, one of the best gaming consoles ever released, writing, stacked with titles like Doom, Dark Souls, and soon The Witcher 3, along with its own first-party Mario and Zelda titles, Nintendo can proudly boast an S-tier library early in the system's life.
Any drawbacks, O'Brien?
The journal noted that reading a lot of text can sometimes be a chore on the smaller screen, so for old guys like me, it might be a little bit annoying to do, at least until they patch it and put in large text type for us grandpas over here.
Boo, reading bad. Oh, but it's more about our poor eyesight. Gotcha. Meanwhile, The Verge says that Nintendo has proved with the Switch Lite that it can still build one hell of a handheld. Well, good for them. Hey.
Yeah, its reviewer said that playing games was more comfortable on the new system, writing, I was hitting more shots in Fortnite and getting higher scores in Sayonara Wild Hearts than I did on the regular Switch. It's anecdotal, sure, but I can definitely say that no games felt worse on a Switch Lite, but plenty felt a lot better.
He's getting all those shots. He's getting chicken royales or whatever it is.
I'm teabagging noobs a lot easier on the Switch Lite.
CNET specifically mentioned the 3DS in its review of the Switch Lite, saying it's best to think of the console as the true Nintendo 3DS sequel, even though Nintendo won't admit it.
And of course, one drawback is that since the Joy-Cons don't attach, you won't be able to use it with the Labo or the upcoming Ring Fit Adventure. Overall, CNET said that everything about it feels streamlined and easy. It's like a gaming Kindle.
That's a line for old people.
I can't wait to read my Tom Clancy novels on it.
Oh yeah, like 16-point font, triple spaced. He didn't write any of those later ones. Teeth of the Tiger? Yeah, right. So Kotaku also dug the Switch Lite, calling it one of the finest handheld gaming devices I've ever used. That's them saying it, not me. But they also noted that it's not very versatile. It can't dock, there's no kickstand or rumble or infrared camera. It does have amiibo support though, so that's good. And it's got a built-in accelerometer and gyroscope for motion control. So most of the things that you need for gaming are there, just none of the cool little fancy features that the original Switch has. Kotaku's reviewer also wrote, to me, the Switch Lite is to the Switch as the 2DS is to the 3DS. Both play the same games, but one is cheaper and stripped of features that some players never bothered with anyway. Good say. Yeah, I agree with that.
Polygon said that with the Switch Lite, Nintendo is taking a page out of Apple's playbook and cannibalizing its own business for long-term growth. That's probably a reference to when Apple was selling a ton of iPods, and that was their huge business, but then they came out with the iPhone, which kind of replaced the iPod, so I think that's what Nintendo is shooting for here.
Polygon wrote, Nintendo knows the value of a low-cost portable. One of the reasons the 3DS has held on for so long is that parents love buying less expensive systems for children to take with them when they travel. What?
Yep, I love that.
Oh, or just when they want to play something around the house. Once again, think of the kids, Brian's kids specifically, who he does not love.
That's the big reason for the price cut, to bring in new people to the Switch who might not have ponied up $300 for a Switch back in the first place.
That's right, Polygon went on to say that the Switch Lite makes a very attractive second Switch console for the family, especially for larger families, Mormons, with a lot of kids or even just two adults who like to play different games or who travel frequently and can't afford a trampoline in the backyard. Seriously, fly over Utah sometime, look out the window. Nothing but trampolines. It's crazy.
They called it an absolutely killer portable machine that's a joy to use, despite a few misgivings about what was taken away compared to what was added.
Wow, so there you go. The Switch Lite is here. Rest in peace, 3DS. We will miss you. Death comes for us all, and taxes, but in this case for the 3DS, you died first.
What a note to end on.
You know what? Be safe. You're all gonna die.
Statistically, some of you will die this weekend.
I just remembered my best friend growing up was a Mormon. He had a trampoline in the backyard. You're exactly right.
Is the service worth it now? Well, over the last year, they have been diligently adding more and more NES games to the point to where they've got more than 50 now, not to mention SP versions of some games, which usually let you start with a bunch of items and power-ups just so you can totally tear through bad, and that's fun. Everybody likes that.